Well, hey there. Welcome back to Real WW Talk. I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Ladies, I almost sang reunited and it feels so good.
Oh, I had to let you get the song out because I was waiting for us to all three be here. I've missed you guys.
Missed you guys too.
Man, we've had all of us individually and collectively have had a wild couple of weeks. I listened to the episode from last week while I was out driving around trying to get stuff for my house. So if you are just popping back into the podcast and maybe haven't listened for a little bit, we took a couple weeks off because we've individually had just stuff going on, but I moved, bought my very first little place.
Yay!
It's fabulous. And the ladies surprised me today by coming over with the most amazing basket of goodies. And when I say basket, I mean like this basket is almost as big as I am. Like Candice,
Erin saw me coming.
I was like, what in the world? But it was filled with just the most wonderful, like giant blanket and cups for my cabinet, like quality things. The hand soap that was rosemary and a little bit of mint.
It was perfect.
It was
We
so
figured our
perfect.
community would understand. And just to be clear, this was also us taking liberties to make sure that Erin is fully stocked to be able to host us with like
Of course.
the most quality mixing bowls,
Yes.
every recipe that we want her to
cutting
make. We
boards.
need her to be able to do it. Okay.
I'm so stocked. It's wonderful. Well, and when I moved, so I actually quote unquote downsized a little when I came to this space. I had to sell my dining room table, which I'm like now, 2.5, 3 weeks into this place. And I'm like, I miss an actual place to sit. I don't have living room furniture. I just got a rug yesterday. Like
A rug
it's
that was
wild.
the same color as the stuff, wasn't that?
Yes.
So
It all
my
matched
new
so well.
Well, and when you guys last came over, my color palette was kind of like gray with like a white shag rug, little bit of pink, a little bit of teal. And as I've gotten into this new place, the colors are different. I've got actually, instead of having gray floors, I've got actual like wood floors, and the colors are tan. And like the colors that have been speaking to me in here have been like seafoam green and like blues and beiges. And I'm like, is this who I am now? And so when I bought the carpet that I bought for my living room, it has all of those colors in there. And so here come the ladies showing up with this huge basket, and the basket is in the colors.
And we had no idea. Yeah.
We started off with the original, with the other colors, and then I was like, Rikki, what do you think of that one? And she was like, I like that. I don't know if that's anything that she has in her house that's this color, and it just so happened.
It's perfect. Everything matches. So thank you, ladies. So I've got the kitchen is embarrassing. Well, this is what I have to remind myself, that there are people out there who don't have a kitchen, and I do. I call it my Uber Eats kitchen. I don't think this kitchen is made for somebody who wants to cook out of their kitchen. I'm an ingredient kitchen, and this is I have food delivered in kitchen. Nothing wrong with that. But there is zero storage. And so the ladies saw my controlled chaos of all of my cooking accessories and such. But it's on its way. It's on its way. So anyway, thank you. And by the way, thank you for the little post that you guys made in the group, and everyone who gave me well wishes in the Real WW Talk Facebook group.
We're
I really,
so
really
happy for you,
appreciate it.
Honestly,
Yes,
nobody deserves her, honestly. So
Mhm.
this has been a good thing. And like I said, it's good for all of us. It really is. More recipes are on the way. Okay.
We're all benefiting.
When the furniture comes in, y'all, and the kitchen is done,
Yes.
the kitchen's getting done in, I think, early June. So yes.
And what you all
Yes.
don't know is that my little guy came with us and he just blessed the whole house. He decided it was his. Like he ran in and I was like, hold on, this is not your house. He claimed everything.
I love it. What's the first thing he did was kick his shoes off.
He
And
took his
then
shoes
second-
off.
and then grabbed the TV remote. And I'm like, you are a little man. I love
You
it.
know good spaces and good people. That's what I
Yes.
And then Rikki brought her mom, and it blessed me so much. Her mom, she's like, they were getting ready to leave. She's like, nope, 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 nope. She goes, everybody gather round, everybody hold hands. And she prayed over us in the new space. And I was like, yes.
Yes, it was perfect.
Nothing beats a mama prayer. Now you know that you can rest easy. It's been blessed.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm like, that's nothing will come against this. This is good. All right. So, well, that's me. Rikki, what's your world been like for the past couple weeks?
Well, it's been busy. I was happy to finally have spring break and relax, but I'm happy that I am down 30 pounds. And it's been, it's been good to have some momentum, and it's been slow, but I'm happy to be there. And then I went to the doctor, and they said my blood pressure was like perfect. So I am on medicine for it. My doctor's kind of monitoring it, but it looks like I might, when I go back in about 6 months, I might be taking off blood pressure medicine. So.
This is why we do this. Yes.
Exactly.
You can really see it in your face too.
Oh,
you really can.
You. Thank you.
She's like, this little thing.
You mean this jawline?
This jawline? Oh,
it's funny. It's like I'm always looking down at looking and judging my little. I'm like, I've got this, but you know what? It's all about perspective and looking at the positive.
Yes. That's it. So if you've looked at the title of this episode, you're like, why are they laughing and joking and all of this? And why is Erin taking up all this time talking about her house? Let's get to the business here. Because there is some serious business to talk about. So Candice, why don't you go ahead?
Well, I wish it was buying a house and losing the 30 pounds. I mean, I've lost some, but it hasn't been 30, and I certainly didn't buy a new house. But so some of you all who may have followed on, I have an Honestly Candice Instagram where I've already ripped the Band-Aid off, but I did get another breast cancer diagnosis on the same day that I was diagnosed in 2022. Now, shock, awe, I'm sure, because I'm sure when I texted the ladies, because I did text them, like everything was deja vu. Like I always have never really loved April, because we were actually talking about that before we hit record. Like your body remembers, like just time frames that you thought you would. And every April, I always get really nervous and all of that. And I have scans and things, but I went in for a routine.
What I was going to say, what did you say when you sent like, hey guys, this is not looking, something looks off on it. And we were like, well, listen, they're talking positively. So let's not borrow.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes version is I went in for a routine mammogram. This was not like ordered. Yes, we had talked a few episodes ago about a clinical trial that I'm doing. But this was not even anything for that. Every 6 months since my cancer diagnosis, when I got into remission or no evidence of disease, I'm scanned every 6 months, either a breast MRI or a mammogram. And it was time for my mammogram. I did the mammogram, and it was at my normal space. And you can usually tell when it takes a little bit longer. Normally, when it's fine, they give you a paper. We'll see you in 6 months, or we'll see you in a year. This was like, hey, we need to do some additional scans. Now, because I've seen this story before from the first diagnosis, I immediately broke into tears. And they did an ultrasound, because at first they thought they saw something on the right and left breast. And I was just, what is going on? There's nothing on the right breast. They were like, no, everything there is fine, which was my original breast that was impacted. But there was a very, very tiny microcalcification on my left breast. So that's when I had told the ladies, I was like, well, they want to biopsy it and see, because 80% of calcifications are nothing. I'd never had anything. I had had a clear breast MRI 6 months before. So there's been nothing to indicate. Every physical exam felt fine. But I did get on the day that I was diagnosed in 2022, I got the My Chart pinged and said that it was stage 0. There is a stage 0. It's called DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ. I think it's situ, not situ. But what that means is that it is not an invasive cancer. It's not where I was in 2022. So I won't have to go through chemo. I won't have to do the things, but it's still considered a primary new cancer. So I'll be going through surgery this time. No, like I said, no chemo. I will have surgery, and then I will have to go through radiation as just like a preventative measure. But it's been a lot to process because I didn't want to be back here. And a lot of people may say, well, why? Like, what does this have to do? I wish I had the answer. But one thing that I feel very passionate about sharing, and I shared with the ladies, and I want to share with this community and everyone who knows me, is that I have a genetic mutation called ATM. A lot of people have heard of BRCA, and I don't want to get too in the weeds because when we think of BRCA, you know, Angelina Jolie and people who have preventative mastectomies. ATM is kind of not that, but it does increase your risk of breast cancer by like 40%. So usually all that means is that you have additional monitoring. But it is something that they think could have maybe been a part of this, but they're just not sure because I'm doing everything. You know, I've been put into menopause. Mine was hormone positive. So the doctors are very, 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 again, they're like, this is not what you went through before. It sucks, but you're going to see that this is why early detection is key. So this is why we get mammograms. This is why we do the things. But I think mentally it's been hard, you know, to have to face it again and to ask all the hard questions of the why me's. I'm like, I wrote the book. I did everything I thought that God wanted me to do. But, you know, it's something I'm walking through. And I feel like he's made me an oversharer. It's just who I am. I could try not to share. It just wouldn't be me. And it's been great to kind of see people who have come out and said, I too have had this happen because this is how I got through it and you'll get through it again. So ladies came through as per usual and, you know, but I'm excited to get this behind me. But I am sad that it is something that I have to do again. But yeah. So.
And we're sad that it's something that you have to do again too.
Yeah.
I think for us too, like that was, you know, so then maybe the friend view for others, okay, wow, you're processing that your friend is having to go through this again. And there's nothing you can do to make it better. It's not our job to make it better, but it's our job to sit with. I think about there's a Bible verse that says that mourn with those who mourn. And that's sometimes the greatest gift that we can do is just to sit with somebody and not try to make it better or say, you know, even, I don't know, it's going to be okay. Like not even saying that. Sometimes it's just sitting there and going, this really sucks.
Yeah.
This really sucks.
Yeah. And you gave us the kind of roadmap of how to respond. And I found myself like, okay, like where are the cliff notes of the
right?
Like I need to go back and like look at because I know I highlighted, you know. And
that was the funniest thing is that people when they did find out, there's this script that people follow. They're like, I know your suck doesn't need a silver lining, you know, because that's the name of my book. So I just brought it like right there. So they're like, what? I just wanted to let you know that I'm not going to say that your head's going to look weird, like everything that I've used and the way that actually did encourage me, because the point I think of why we go through things for those of us who are sharers. And I wanted to tell people not everybody has to share your hard stuff. Like that's just who I am. And that's what brings me comfort is sometimes in being able to hopefully maybe put something in somebody's mind if they're scared to get the scan or they're scared to do the thing. They're like, this is why we do it. But to hear people say that they have changed how they speak to people who are going through difficult stuff helps me.
Yeah.
And I have enough people who God has blessed me to be in the world who have said, this is true, you know, and going through it a second time, if I know how it hit me, I know how it can hit everybody else who hears it, you know, because it's not something that anybody wants to hear. And you're like, what is going on? But I think that the showing up has been amazing. and the people saying, I don't know what to say, but I'm sitting here, and seeing it in action this time and seeing people be mindful with their words. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like the worst, the best of the worst.
Yeah.
So your words really had, an impact when you wrote that book. And I think another thing that stuck with me that you told people, you said, don't disappear. And I think there is a line to toe between giving you that space to process and also saying, but I'm still here. Like you're saying, Erin, like I'm still here. I'm showing up. I'm, gonna provide whatever needs you have that I can provide. But I'm also not going to just disappear into the, the void because I'm giving you time, because that can be an excuse, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that what I'm learning this time around is, I try to be, we all have hats, and, we've talked about it all. We all have things going on, wife, mother, business, this, but rest is key. And I'm really trying to embrace this time around. If someone says they want to help, yes. Do you want to bring me? Okay. Yeah. If the doctor says take a break and just, be for a while, that's fine. Because in the past, I think a lot of my strength was like, I don't need help. I got it. Like I wanted to, I don't want the label of like the sick person who needs all these things. And it's like, no, but it's okay to say that mentally, I need a day to just go to a spa, sit in a jacuzzi, read a book, recover, cry. And if somebody wants to do something to help me in some way, it's okay to say yes. And that doesn't mean I'm weak. So that's a new part of this journey. I did it a little bit before, but I don't know if I embraced it as much.
I feel like, so it's so funny because when we started, talking about this again, you really powered through the first one. I mean, you were, listen, if it were me, I love this community. I loved it. I would have taken a break, a solid, like, I'm not coming in because I only have bandwidth, like, for so much kind of a thing. And I'm like, I just need to focus. And you drove through. And one of the things that was just kept bubbling up was rest, that word rest for you. And how can we help you with that? And so, like, one of the questions that I asked Candice was, we got the do-over none of us wanted. So what do you want to do differently this time compared to the last time? And are there any ways that you wish, even like us, that we could show up for you differently this time compared to the last time?
Yeah. And I think that it was, and I think I had responded to you all when you said it, like, it is just, if, hey, we're going to come and, I don't know, take Isaiah for a while, because we don't trust everybody to just take him, because, he's the little, but he knows the
He's
two
going
of
with
you.
Aunt Rikki.
He
would not leave on Aunt Rikki's side at all.
So funny. He was like, I need, and we were out getting stuff. He's like, I want Aunt Rikki's hand. Okay. But being able to say, that's fine. What did he call you though? Oh yeah, he was rubbing off.
And it was my elbow. I'm like, I'm glad I put lotion on my elbow today.
My nephew used to lick my elbow. It was the weirdest thing.
Like, what is it? Yes.
I was like, I called him I was like, you're a little licker. What's going on? This is so weird. But I saw him doing the same thing to you. And I was like, oh, this is pure love, right?
Pure love.
Did you call me Miss Myra?
Yes. And Myra is another friend. And I'm like, I think he just takes all my friends and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to put you in a hat. He did. You are today.
But not Aunt Rikki though. I've been Miss April, Miss Myra. But I adore it because it's a new personality every time.
He knows that you bring him food that is good.
That's right.
So that's the one
but
thing.
I know that he knows me because he came right in, took his shoes off, and grabbed the remote.
He was very comfortable.
So that's what I'm embracing this time around. Is like Isaiah is, but I don't have to. Like, I said I love chatting with you ladies. Like, you all chatting with you is not work to me. It's not like, oh, I don't want to. But I've avoided in the past, okay, I'm going to take a nap, because I was like, who's taking a nap in the middle of the day? I'm not doing that, because that's what I had this thing about, that's what you do when you've given in and this. And it's like, no, sometimes when rest is restorative. And even if this is not as intense of a journey as it was in 2022, and the recovery is quicker, and really I should be, the good news is that I have done scans since the diagnosis, because when they did the biopsy, they really feel they got it all. Not doesn't mean that I can move forward in that confidence. I still have to have surgery, but it's moving with a speedness of like, hey, you're going to be on the other side of this sooner than you think. But mentally, this is a big knock, and having to still process that, and the PTSD, that emotion is a lot. And then processing other people processing it. That's the harder part too, because you see the sadness in people's eyes and you see the concern, which you appreciate, but it's like, I don't want you to feel that way about me. I wish it wasn't about me. And having to know it's okay that people feel it.
But with that, it's sadness through the lens of love.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the piece too. It's because this person that we love. Gosh, it just sucks. You've got to do this again. Like I think we individually talked about our why gods. And, I'm looking forward to designing your second book. That doesn't mean this has to become a story to be used for something else, but I know how this goes.
But it's funny because, you hear, for those of us who are people of faith, there's certain things that I feel God has spoken and put into my heart about what I've learned and the people that I have experienced in this journey. Sorry, there's like a fly if you see it. Sorry. But people that you experience in this journey, and the things that they have said to me that coincide with what I was talking, because a lot of the things that people want me to talk about are more of those examples of what is it that we are saying when we are shutting up, showing up and staying. What does that truly mean? And when it's tough again, or when the person may not have processed it all, the second time around, because I think that people want to say the right thing. And that's what I'm learning. People care, like you said, it's always from a place of love. But where I am and where I'm going to be in these next few weeks on the podcast is, I wish I were the one buying the edible arrangement for someone else. I wish I was the one showing empathy for, not because I want somebody else to go through it, but I just don't want it to be, I don't want to be the focal point. But while I'm here, let's learn all that we can, because
it's a great attitude to have.
But I had my fights. Let's be very clear. Like, I was very much like, let me be, you don't have to do all of this, is how I feel. Like, you don't have to do all this. Like, I got it the first time. I think the chemo and all the things and the menopause was enough. But, apparently he's like,
you took my boobs, you took my estrogen, you took
and to hear the radiation person trying to make it better, she's like, well, you had the one side radiated and now they're lopsided, but at least this one will be radiated and then they'll just both be, It's like, yes, I'll take that silver lining. Okay. I know that we're not doing silver linings, but I'll take it.
That's the one silver lining.
That's the one.
Because she was like, well, this one was always going to be a little bit bigger, but now it won't.
That's what we're gonna throw you a breast cancer party, even boobs.
Like, I don't want this label. Like, I just don't want it. So,
with apologies to our male listeners. Sorry, August.
Yes.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry, but you understand.
But again, with men, we always say it. Breast cancer isn't just about women, and it's not just in October. And I don't know if that's just I just hope that when people see me and they see me here, and if you feel sorry, and I appreciate it, I do, make sure the best thing that people can do is then say, how am I taking care of my own health? How am I then going to, advocate for myself? Like Rikki, when you're talking about with the weight loss and getting off of the drug, the blood pressure med maybe, or Aaron, the way that you had to advocate for yourself last year, and you're getting procedures and it's not always comfortable. And we have mental struggles with months and time frames, but
Mhm.
we're all doing the thing.
Yeah.
We're showing up. I'm going to show up again because that's what we
Yep.
do. You know?
So our next task for the three of us, we need to set up a freezer party, a meal prep party, right? Because we said we were doing that. So we can stock you, because reality is we've been through the radiation. And so we know when we start getting into those mid time of it, that's where it starts to get a little harder, a lot harder. And so the things that we can do to help alleviate for you and make your life better during that time. And that may mean we do 2 or 3 meal prep. It's not just the one and done. It may mean some extra time. So
And
any
I
chance
think
I
my
can get
hard
into
part is saying yes.
in your life?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my hard part, because I want to be like, you don't have to. You all have already done so much. Because when I tell you these ladies show up, they always do, you know. And that's one thing I love about our friendship. Not because I want to be like, let me figure out how to get an Aaron meal. Hold on, let me get a calcification. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, I understand.
You don't have to do that.
Just because the vote, or Rikki's going to get me a basket. Let me go ahead and throw a little cancer in there, and I'll get more stuff. Like, that's not why I'm doing this, so that I can get free meals and freezer meals. But since we are here, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I will take it, and I take every prayer, and I take every kind word, and I appreciate so much everybody who sends any positive vibes my way, because there's no wrong way to be positive, and there's no wrong way to truly care about somebody. And I appreciate this community, my family, and having people in my corner, because Aaron, I know you've walked through recently with a friend who has gone through breast cancer, and she passed, she won her battle in a different way. And when you see it, it's hard, because the cancer has so much of a stigma. And we know people who have done very well, and those who have struggled. And when you know that and you're going through it, I can't imagine for others what that kind of stirs up. But we've had so many people who have shown up even from the first round. We have nurses in our Real WW Talk community who are oncology nurses, who I said are some of the best people you will ever meet in your life. You talk about sunshine on a cloudy day. Hats off to our oncology nurses, like, who are there in the thick of it with patients who are experiencing the worst days of their life, and the doctors who have to give really hard news because they have to. I know the radiologist didn't want to tell me that, but did her job. And in the midst of the tears, I said, I'm crying not because of what you said or because of what you're saying. It's just because I've gone through this. I know this journey, and I don't want to do this again. And she said, I know, but we're just going to get it checked, because she had to.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to her now, so I hope that this is a time that we really love on those who are walking the journeys and being those friends to them, but also to those who are healthcare workers, like, honestly.
Yeah. So
It's a hard job. Really hard job. Yeah.
So that's my hope and prayer for you all. If you all give me grace, I'm always asking for grace. We all need it. Like you said, if I don't feel like showing up and you see Aaron and Rikki here, or we take a week off, that's okay, because we're all doing things and we all have things going on. But, my commitment is to being honest and to resting more.
Yep. Good. I love that for you. And even if it's because Rikki and I, when we got the news, we immediately called each other and we're like, okay, what are we doing? And the first thing was, I don't think that this is a go sit in the garage one. I don't think this is one to go sit in the garage. I think we just need to show up in a different way this time. So it's kind of, okay, how do we think what does Candice need right now? It's hard to know what someone else's needs are when they don't know what they are, but it was just one of those, like, I think we're just going to show up with some prepackaged meals, which we did. I went to Trader Joe's and grabbed a whole bunch. I was like, I'm going to make a couple meal sets so that when David, your husband, gets home, you don't even have to think today about cooking or tomorrow about cooking. It's there. And that way you can think about other things or put it in the freezer if you want to save it for later. And then it was, yeah.
And I ended up getting a basket with a dear friend from my job who had, knows Candice through the previous journey. And we went in on a basket that was just full of things that made, to make her smile. That didn't scream like, hey, here's the pink ribbon again. but it was like, here's some candles that we know you're going to love. Here's a new journal that we know you've been telling yourself you can't get, but guess what? You can have another journal, like.
Which you know for me, like, come on,
Yeah, all the cozy, all the warm, good feeling things.
Yeah. But I think that's what I mean is I didn't have to say it because sometimes, as I've said in my book, and you've heard a lot of people say, I don't know exactly what I need all the time. And I know that is a shared experience for a lot. It's like, I don't really know, but I know that I'm open to, and I think Aaron, you and Rikki both said, why don't we then figure out a day to think about it and plan, because you don't have to know right now. See, having that permission to not always have to know or to not have it all together, that's freeing. Yeah. And to say, I understand there's a lot going on,
Yeah. I think also even just having the gift of, I don't need to hear from you about this right away. So you don't even have to acknowledge this text.
Yes.
You just come back to it when you want to come back to it, when you're ready. And that could even be a week from now. We kind of get in this thing that if I send somebody a text, I have to have a response within the next 5 seconds. And these ladies know for me, like, I use my phone, like it's 1999. I don't respond right away to everything ASAP. It might be a day. Sometimes it's because I've responded in my head and I've forgotten to respond by text. And then other times it's just like, I can't process anything right now. I feel too overwhelmed with everything. And they're gracious enough to give me a day. And they know if they haven't heard from me within 2 days, it'd be like, are you hiding under your bed right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of hiding under my bed right now.
Yeah. And I'm finding so many similarities. And another thing, and I know we're getting towards the end, but I think that the acknowledgement, something that helps me is the world doesn't end because this happened again. Right. And everybody has hard things, even while I'm going through this again. Like, it's not like, and I think that one of the things that was sad to me in the first journey was that people felt they had to bury their hard things because your hard thing is worse. And it's like, no, we could all like have bad days still and good days, not just bad days, but good days and like celebrations and trips and things. And it doesn't have to be always that it's just, the focus is just on this. Candice is the only one going through something tough, so I can't emote or I can't share.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's kind of a don't withhold your bad from
or
me.
You're good,
right? Or you're good, because it gives me the opportunity to join in with you, whatever that may be.
Don't tell Candice I had a good scan because hers was bad. No, tell me you had a good scan. Tell me you went to get a mammogram and it was clear. Tell me that you have a trip coming up when I'm going through radiation and I might not be able to travel during that month because I'll be going back and forth. I want to hear where are we going because I need something to look forward to.
And what are you bringing me back?
What are we bringing back? Because I think that's why people hide. It's like, I don't want, she's going through this. So I'm going to either not share the good or the bad because it's not allowed. And I think that that's what makes somebody feel isolated. And this time around, even though it's sad, and truly, I mean it, I'm not just in like in a bubble. This is not the same journey. And the doctors are even treating it that way, where they're just kind of like, okay, well, anyway, yes, this is DCIS. So you're stage 0. So we'll see you in 3 weeks, do a pre-op. I'm like, what about my port? Port for what? Oh, okay. Port for what? That's right. Let's go with that.
Yep.
So I'm trying to take on that energy too, where I'm honest about not making it more than it is, but also holding space for the fact that this is annoying.
It is what it is. Yeah. So what's our next for you? What's the next deadline? What's the next point of action?
So I get to have something called a seed place. Again, who knew these words? There's something called a mag seed. So when it's something this small, the doctors have a pretty tough time finding it in surgery. So they put this radioactive little seed in the area where they had found, they had put the clip when they had the biopsy. So I'll be having that at the end of the month. And May 9th is my surgery day. And then I recover. And then we get a plan together for radiation. And I'm already doing the medical part. I'm already in menopause, so it's more so I'll be starting the clinical trial or all of that stuff probably, in a few months. And we keep going, we just keep going because we're grateful. I'm just grateful that this is all that it is, even though it is steps.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll keep you updated as part of our Real WW Talk community. And you may, there may be some times where we may take a week or two off. We were kind of talking like, hey, since we started doing this podcast in 2020 and it's now 2025,
during COVID,
during COVID, we've actually not taken any quote unquote time off. And like this past, we took 3 weeks off or 2 weeks off. I think it was 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks off in the entire time we've been together.
We took, to get a cancer diagnosis and buy a house and do things,
Right. So we are giving ourselves permission to be able to rest or take a week off without thinking about something to replace it. And so we just want to give you that heads up. But of course, we will let you know that we're doing that. And the best way to find out, especially, is inside of the Real WW Talk Facebook community. So please come over to Facebook and make sure that you are part of the group so that you will get any heads up if and when. And I say if and when because it's taken us 5 years to take 2 weeks in a row off. So we'll see what happens.
We do have Instagram. We'll do a little post. And we did a post in the stories and stuff. But like she said, Facebook just tends to be where people are very active. We can pin posts.
Yeah, stuff. Easier to see. People are great about helping us out and sharing the news if somebody doesn't see the original post.
We love it. All right. Well, we wish you a great week. Listen, if you've been thinking about scheduling a mammogram, a prostate exam, take your pick, any exam, go get it done. Go get it done because
early detection saved my life.
There it is. Again. Save your life. Listen, what's the point of restricting calories and doing points? You know what I mean? Yeah. Go get it. Go get it scheduled.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Okay. And have me just have my little face in your mind when you're thinking about saying no. Be like, oh, Candice got stage 0 because of this, So.
Right. All right. We love you. Have a great week and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.